The three option offer, not to be confused with the 3 hour tour. Ginger and Marianne aren't coming on this tour. Neither is the professor, Skipper, Mr. and Mrs. Howell, and whatever, whatever the other characters were on Gilligan's Island. But so just so you get that in your head, the 3 hour tour, the three option offer. Are you glad I can't sing? Because otherwise I'd try to sing more. Um, so this is going to be pretty two documents, and we're going to actually go over this, guys, one night. So we're going to go over in detail. And so I just want to kind of familiarize yourself when you got questions on it. Very powerful closing tool. So I'm going to go over the documents first. I'm going to go over and sorry, I still got the little glitch in it. So this is a three option offer. Addendum to contract number one. This contract is contingent upon buyer's inspection and approval of the property prior to transfer of title. Go back to, your obviously your purchase and sale agreement. We've got one that goes with this. Seller agrees to provide access to the buyer's representatives prior to transfer the title for inspection, repairs, and to market the property. So buyer is to purchase property located at under the following three options. So you want to do option one is going to be your typical low ball, could be a mid ball, high ball, whatever you're going to do, what your purchase is for cash. Obviously, if you are still using a hard money lender or a private money lender or something like that, you're going to have to do proof of funds. And if it's a cash deal, this is, I'm going to say probably 25% of these are probably option one. The majority will going to be other will be divided between option two and option three. But this is just a standard deal. So buyer to pay all cash and close within 14 days of acceptance at any time before the expiration of the contract. So put the actual date. You could actually make this and put government business days. Remember that GBD, government business days. Purchase price is to be $200,000 cash. Well, cool. Maybe the situation dictates where they're open to actually getting a smaller down payment, and you get some earnest money and some other things. So let's just read through these real quick. Like I said, we are going to go through this in depth. We are going to teach this. It's going to be a couple hours. Yeah, we want you guys to prepare some of these. Just run off a couple copies, and print them out and just draw them up and see let's see what we can come up with. So option two, purchase price to be the 200,000. So it's going to be buyer to pay down plus money for earnest money, seller to carry the first mortgage in the amount of X at how many percent? So fully amortizing 4 years. So if you guys want to get an amortization calculator, you can download them off the internet. You can look up your phone, figure out full amortization for years with the monthly payments of the amount of Y, and then a annual year balloon payment of so how many, if you got a balloon payment annually, and then you get into a full balloon payment of, total revenue, you want to show how many revenue. So after 5 years, if this is going to be a 5 years, you're going to have payments that are going to total what what your total payments are with interest. So you can get a amortization calculator that has the interest in it. I'm not going to really go into it that much. You could throw out, let's say it's $200,000. You're paying $2,000 in earnest money. Your down payment's going to be, figure out what your down payment is. It's going to be 10% or whatever. Then you're doing seller carry on, you know, at that point you've got, a little over 180, about $180,000. A little bit, maybe off actually. Let's see. Yeah, right around $180,000. So you can factor that into how many months. If you're going to do you could do 10 years, 30 years, do a balloon payment if you want. That way you have time and, to refi or to sell the property or, because you wanted obviously it's a rental property, guys, if you're going to own it, you want to get out of this kind of financing within a year, 2 years and go to like some long term with Freddie and Fannie Mae where you can get some 20, 25, 30 year financing at sometimes ridiculous. Like I have to check and actually see what the current thing is, but I've seen people get down to like 2.5, 3%. I just have to see what the current market is, and I can provide you guys with out of our 20,000 contacts, probably got 100 lenders that could do long term financing for you. Is Freddie and Fannie Mac. The beauty of that is it's insured by the government, and you can actually get a lot of benefits from that. It's pretty cool. Now, if you're doing FHA, VA to your end use buyer, then you obviously want to get obviously an MLO and a real estate agent involved so they can actually do it right. So that's your really purchase price to be is option two. Option three is just really a second. You're looking at a buyer to pay so much money down, seller carry first mortgage in the amount of X at certain amount of percentage, fully amortizing with monthly payments in the amount of Y per month, and then you got a year and a year balloon. So you're making monthly payments and a year balloon equals total, and you got total revenue. This is not one that's generally doesn't have earnest money. So you're going to want to put your earnest money in option two. Well, option three doesn't have earnest money. All these have balloons. They have an annual balloon and they have a final balloon. But you're giving them three, and you want to give them this form, so that way you can show them the three options. I'm going to say probably most of the people are going to take option two. So I'm going to say about 25%, about 50%, about 25%, just from what I've seen of people actually doing this. So it is a good form. You can kind of play with these and fill some numbers that take some of your other deals or find some deals and say, what would you do on this deal? And, just kind of work these out and have these ready to go. You can make these form fillable. There's some different programs out there. So that way you can do these on the fly. You can put it on an iPad or you can even do it on your cell phone. If you get the right program, you can actually have this ready just to fill in the blanks and print out or actually email. Right. You can do it on the spot. I mean, I used to do it a lot. So this is just a really good thing with the three option offer. And we are going to, like I said, we are going to cover this in depth for a session. So it'll be, an hour or something. We'll cover it and we'll have everybody we'll ask everybody to kind of do one ahead of time. And then, we'll kind of do the math and stuff. But you're going to want to get an amortization calculator. Like I said earlier, you can have it on your cell phone, your iPad, your laptop, whatever it is. Generally, I like having it on my phone because if we're doing this on your laptop, you don't have to go back and forth and accidentally erase this. But like I said, you can have this. This is a very simple offer. So let me get out of this one and let me come back with the other part of this. So when you get your three option offer, you've also got your purchase sale agreement, guys. This is actually and keep in mind, this is a sample only. If there's any sample document, you should consult an attorney as to its applicability for any particular purpose and for compliance with the laws of the state you reside. Keep in mind, you're not going to want this, obviously delete this. You can just, wipe it out. And then, obviously this will become a real document. This is your real estate purchase and sale agreement that goes with the three option offer. So once they agree to one of the options, then you can actually use this to fill it in. And you get down a little bit into it, obviously the legal description, street address, parties, personal property, title, interest of the seller in and to adjacent streets, roads, alleys, and right of ways. And now you're getting the payments. So now here's a little bit more, and I'll explain a little bit more about these other options that I just showed you because I do go pretty fast on these. Cash deposit to be held in escrow by your escrow agent of whatever escrow title, whatever, in the amount of to be deposited within 3 days of settlement. So that's a good thing. Subject to assumption of mortgage, so this becomes like a sub two, and in favor of bearing interest at per annum and payable as to principal and interest per month, having an approximate present principal balance of. So this is going to deal with you're going to be putting this monthly payment. Obviously, this would be a good situation if you're renting. Let's say your rent's $1,200 and you have to pay $800. You're going to show, what your revenue is. If you're making $400 a month, you're going to have $4,800 annual. Your profit's going to be $4,800 annual a year if you're paying $800 to service the debt. So that kind of gets into the math. Purchase money, mortgage, and note bearing interest at certain percentage on terms set forth here and below, and the principal amount of Y. Balance to close, U.S. cash, certified or cashless check, subject to adjustments and prorations. See addendum 1. You start getting guys into financing. You can read all this stuff. The title evidence within 5 days from the stated contract shall or sell at his expense, delivered to buyer or his attorney in accordance with paragraph 11. A commitment for title insurance with the fee owners, title policy premium to be paid by seller at closing. So make sure that's really important. This is, like I said, this goes with the three option offer. These two forms go together. They are, you might be able to use this for some other things, but this goes with the three option offer. Make sure you got also a closing date. This is 6, I believe. I may have said that the wrong one earlier. This transaction shall be closed and the deed and other closing papers delivered on the chosen day of any month between now and make sure you put that, and you can put down here, government business days, restrictions, easements, limitations. The buyer shall take title subject only to title insurance provided by the seller at closing. And then you start getting in, the buyer will take property as is and work with existing tenants to allow them to stay. This is key, guys. This is where you're buying a property and it's going to be rented and the tenants are going to stay. It's a really good deal, guys, because you're basically assuming this is subject to, you're assuming that you're going to take over the mortgage and you're going to service the mortgage. But you want to have the title insurance, you want to have all the paperwork, protect all the parties. So it's a good situation for this. You want to list the existing mortgages to be assumed. You're going to want to make sure, obviously title insurance. You get into term rights, check for, ingress and egress. Get into leases. This is key. Buyers understand that there are tenants currently occupying the property and the seller does not have no will furnish lease agreements signed by the owner occupants. That's key. You want to get your own lease agreements. Buyer will, at their sole expense, work with the tenant after closing to obtain written and signed lease agreements, allowing current occupants to stay indefinitely. Or, obviously put a term in there. And then obviously you got place of closing, where the closing is going to happen, when the offer is valid. Remember, government business days, what the documents are to be drawn by the closing agent or title company, whatever the case may be. So you could actually take a couple of these, copy and paste, and make a couple of different variations, but generally closing agent or title company. Expenses, buyer will be responsible for buyer side expenses and seller will be responsible for customary seller side closing expenses. Make sure you guys understand what those amounts are. Both the forms have that, this one has it in there with the, what your closing costs are going to be and what you're responsible for to bring to the table. Proration of taxes, obviously they'll go into this. Guys, the title company, the escrow agent, all that will go through this. That'll also be on the HUD one. So if there's any title, insurance, and if there's taxes, things like that are in there, that'll be in there, as well as if you're a private money broker. You get paid by the lender and how much. You got risk of loss, and this is pretty detailed. You guys can get into maintenance, proceeds of sale and closing procedure, escrow, attorney's fees and costs, what the default is by the seller. So you guys just want to read through this. I'm not going to, because it's a huge legal document. It's pretty thorough. Engineering plans and studies, you got inspection of property, pending litigation. I mean, all these forms, make sure you guys put in their government business days and make sure you're clear on what day, if you deal with the inspection period, it goes through and you can get your money back and you want out of the deal. Make sure you have that in black and white and it's signed, initial, whatever it is. I would overdo it. I would never underdo it. I basically say, not only do we have a signature on this, and we'll actually mark it on the form that it is this day, government business days. If it's like I said, if it's Memorial Day, if it's due on that Thursday, make sure you cover business day. So that might buy you Friday if something happens. Obviously you got Memorial Day. This has obviously all your signatures. So it's a very cool process. Like I said, we're actually going to go into this in detail in one session. I just want to show you guys what it is now, and then you can download and you can look at it. Most people can figure this out on their own. We're going to go through it, guys, and we're going to do probably 5 or 6 of them in a session where we just go through it. I might pull some properties up, and obviously we'll have some stuff we won't know. We won't be able to do full comps and stuff, but we'll be able to pull some properties up, or you guys can pull some deals you've already done, and we can actually go through these one night. And we will do that during the private money broker session. We'll go through some of the documentation. This is one of the scenarios. This is a great 3-option offer will help you close deals that are subject to. And it's phenomenal if you can do it, especially looking for buy and hold rental properties. If you're gonna flips and stuff, there's other strategies. But this is one of the best strategies for doing buy and hold rental properties on single family. So with that is kind of just a brush over of the 3-option offer.